Hey, Alpha fam, welcome back to another episode of Alpha Commission. Today on Alpha Commission, of course, we're going to go over our continued coverage of the pullback on the Bitcoin chart as we have receded from the first breakout of our macro downtrend supply line. Of course, we are now below it, as I suggested that there could have been a potential fake out back about a week ago. You can see October 4th, just for transparency's sake and just to keep us honest. If we go ahead and put on a a second trend here that a lot of people probably weren't even aware of because they're just not following that closely. We do have a months long second trend, and this is where the strong fake out could come in. Okay, this is where the market could be just a hoodwinking you, just pulling one over, and because they're counting on you to be thinking about this macro downtrend right here, and so they think, aha, if we break through that macro downtrend, everyone is going to get bullish, right? They're all going to go all in, all of these degenerate apes. They're just going to all ape in and FOMO into the pump. And then what can we do? We can activate this secondary resistance that we've built up here. And we can just slap them down and perhaps have a capitulation moment to the downside. And so this was another concern that I had, is that we had this months and months, right, like half a year long, secondary macro downtrend that was just hidden in plain sight. And so, since we have broken above my threshold for the the primary macro downtrend, the secondary macro downtrend is lo and behold, it's going to be right there at the weekly 9 EMA. Funny. Okay, guys, so that was me talking on October 4th about what you should consider to protect your positions. And as you can see, I had a dashed line here. I also talked about taking profits at that point. And boom, guys, we just nailed that. And then, of course, what did happen on the Bitcoin chart? Well, you can see that we had that macro downtrend, of course, which we did break out of, but let's just zoom in here. And you can see we also had that second boss that I was talking about, the second boss and the warning level that I gave to us that we could get hard rejected, because off of the second boss, we have just been rejected, 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 right? Like we've been rejected off of this thing so many times for the last half year. What did people really expect? And then look, what else did I say in the video, guys? It was likely to be a potential fake out. And here we have a breakout of our macro downtrend supply line above this yellow line, right? Is our macro supply line that we were tracking for the last 1 year. I suggested people are going to just FOMO into this like degenerate apes. They are just going to buy the breakout instead of buying a confirmation, instead of making some type of a reasonable assessment about the other risk factors on the chart, including just not seeing this, secondary resistance at all. And in having been kind of hoodwinked by the market, they'd get trapped in their positions, and then, of course, the market could bring itself down. These market makers or whatever market forces collectively contribute to the mass psychology and the mass fake outs that occur. I don't need any type of conspiracy theory. I think that people are just confused enough on their own in order to make some pretty silly things come true. And what we can see is that we are precisely below our macro downtrend supply line on that 1 year downtrend. We are now officially below it again. And guys, if you look at that macro, downtrend, that supply line with just, they just dump their supply on us. We don't hang out there very long. Maybe we hang out there for a week, But whenever we get to that line, we just catastrophically dump if we can't get above that. And of course, this blue line has taken over for about the last half year, and that's why I did suggest this blue and white zone here to be more concerned with this second boss than to be concerned with the fake boss. I believe around this kind of Luna capitulation time that that the blue line replaced the red line, and that was the working theory that I was going by. And yes, I do understand that some other YouTubers and people on Twitter are pointing this out now, right? Just like this weekend, like they're pointing that out. Finally, they've caught up. But guys, I gave you basically a week's notice in advance that this was a likely possibility. I was mentioning to you guys where you could possibly take your profit, and I did have that dashed line, that horizontal line, right at that double top area. And so, guys, just boom, boom, like the Alpha Fam totally killed it once again. And then, you know what? Boom again, because, guys, we are underneath that macro downtrend. And so the fake out that I was speculating on, which was just a speculation, it wasn't a call, guys. It's just a speculation. It's just abstract theory that I'm trying to develop as I develop myself as a trader, as our community talks with one another inside of the Alpha Commission Discord. It's, of course, free to join. You can click the link in the description of the video below. But, of course, we are just trying to become better traders so that we can absolutely kill it in the upcoming bull market. When this crypto market does finally bottom out, we are going to have the tools and the understandings and the sophistication to be able to just kill it in the next market. And who cares about all of this chop on the way down? Guys, it's all about capturing that bull market. We want to be able to get in reasonably close to the bottom, right? We want to get those pumps. We want to be able to sell in profit. We want to keep our money. We do not want to be degenerate apes. We're not going to FOMO. We're not going to have fear or greed. We are just going to use logic based reasoning, and logic based reasoning is what kept us safe on this move. And if we do have a catastrophic dump, logic based reasoning is what's going to have allowed us to keep our profit while all the degenerate apes are probably in a loss or stuck in their longs, praying to God that this continues to the upside when, of course, there is no, guarantee that that could happen. It might happen now that we've been falling. Of course, people are getting bearish again, and so maybe the market could shoot us back up, shoot us back down. Maybe we could chop side to side for a week until that CPI data comes out on Thursday. That CPI data, which will tell us if inflation is still hot or if it's cooling down, which of course will inform the Fed whether or not they're going to do a 75 basis points increase, a 100 points increase, or of course a 50 basis points increase on November 2nd, the week of the elections in the United States. And so, guys, just watch this space, and we'll try to keep each other as protected as possible. This is no financial advice. We are just learners, continuous learners, trying to do our best so that we can kill it in the next bull market. And, of course, all of this is just abstract practice. Until then, if you can make a few bucks along the way, awesome, guys. That's just amazing. But let's take a look at our momentum right now. This is an updated momentum lines here. So you can see that we are basically violating our daily areas. Of course, these blue ones are the daily areas. We're well under where we should be on Bitcoin for the daily. We have lost the weekly 4. So, guys, that's not good. It means that we are now bearish on the weekly. And of course, we do have the 2-day Stokes here at 18,900, which does look like it's a kind of like a mid-range low here. If we do look at this median radial that we have just shooting across. Imagine like this is the sun and there are like sunbeams coming out. It would kind of like go in all different directions, radiating from the center. This is like a median radial, which has supported both the top of the market and has been where the bottom of the market breaks down from. And so being on top of that median radial, which guys, this is just my idea. Of course, you probably won't see this anywhere else. That's the benefit of this channel, is that I do try to think about these things before the other guys do. And you can see we had a little fake out to break down here. We had a little fake out to break down here. This was a very bearish time because we were underneath that radial. We could have just catastrophically dumped, but we can come all the way back to this area to 18,500-ish and kind of just check in with that median radial. And it won't have necessarily taken away our opportunity for a pump. And so, guys, just understand that this red box in this macro downtrend, it actually does have some reasoning. You can see the chop, right, inside of this blue box. You can see the chop inside of this red and this blue box. You can see kind of the chop, the wicks, right? And then if we go just a bit further, you can see how it kind of chops around in there. So these zones are actually pretty well thought out from my point of view. And so you can see just the range that we had to play with. We're still playing within this red range now. And so the red range does have a little bit of depth to it. And so we could go lower without necessarily breaking things. But I do suggest the 2-day Stokes is pretty much stretching it, as is that median radial. So I probably wouldn't want to see us go too much below 19,000 to 18,000, let's just say 600 in our current posture. And if we did that, we would probably be looking at a catastrophic dump just based upon my momentum lines. If we look at my momentum boxes, which of course is a little bit of a secret sauce that I apply here, you can see that we did lose. Let me turn off our macro downtrend and also the second boss, just so we can get a clear picture of price action. You can see that yesterday we did end up losing the box that we needed to hold on to. For the bullishness on the daily here. And so this was just a sliver of a little box here that we needed to hold on to, and we failed to hold above it. And in breaking below it, we basically drowned. You can think of these as pools. Think of it as momentum pools, guys. I think that's what I'm going to call it, momentum pools. And so we swam in the pool, we drowned, we got buried below it. This a 2 to 5 day projection. It's just like an estimate. This white one. The blue one is a kind of a concrete. The white one is just a projection. We did end up, swimming around and almost drowning in the white pool, but we are still just kind of floating around. We are kind of sinking, and so it's not a good sign. And so, guys, from a 2 to 5 day perspective, it's still a little bit ambiguous. Obviously, we lost it on the daily, and in losing that area, right, when you put in a candle, kind of like a 4-hour candle underneath that momentum pool, then you can kind of understand that you're drowning or that you've drowned in that pool. And so it's just maybe a good time to have some risk management or consider shorts, just in my opinion. Again, not financial advice, just how I'm trying to develop this as a tool. And then, of course, being inside of the 2 to 5 day, it did suggest that we had a second chance, and you can see we actually used that second chance quite strongly, and we are just trying to maintain some type of swim pattern inside of this second momentum pool. And what we would need to do is to get above it, in order to keep this this theory alive. But of course, it looks like we're losing it, guys. Let's just delete those old ones. Here's the updated ones. This is now fresh for today, okay? And this is good for 24 hours. And so our updated momentum pool for the daily does suggest that we're actually drowning in front of it. So this is not a good sign. You can see that when we are drowning in a fresh momentum pool, that does suggest some pretty bad things are going on. So I do not like our current momentum. Our current momentum is way too heavy to the downside. It's violating our daily momentum pool even before the day basically even gets started. This will expire tomorrow afternoon. And so if you're watching this on Saturday night or Sunday morning, this is still a valid zone. But if we can get back into this pool and start swimming around in this blue area, then we should be pretty stable. If we can get on top of it, that's going to be great. Of course, we do have the new 2 to 5 day projection, this white area. And so the cloud, I just call it like a cloud of confusion, the kind of fog that's around the beach. Let's say you're swimming at the beach, and then there's like this fog that comes in. That 2 to 5 day fogginess, that kind of confusion. Um, we do have this whole area to still play with still. So as long as we're above that 19,280, we're probably not in critical danger, but it's just not going to be a good look. So if I put on some signals, this is going to be something I'm going to try to keep here. But basically, you can see the key levels to the side here, okay? So let me go ahead and just put on our momentum lines again, just so you can see what I'm looking at. And so you can see the momentum lines and the momentum boxes are not the same. But if I was to make some type of estimation, then of course, in order to be uber bullish, we're trying to get above 19,500 and let's just say 35. If we just want a bullish bias, then 19,525. If we want to be if we want to have a bearish bias here to the downside, then probably 19,419. And then if we just are going to critically lose it, it's probably 19,283. And of course, that aligns with our kind of secret sauce kind of momentum boxes here. And then, of course, we have to also consider our just overall momentum because we also have this kind of failsafe on the 2 day down here at 18,900, and then we also have that a trend line that I showed you at I believe it was let's see, what was that one? 18,000 500 to 18,600, right, somewhere in there. So guys, that's basically it for our momentum. I think I'm going to keep this episode a little short and sweet. We're all pretty much just looking at Bitcoin right now to see if it can break out of this macro downtrend again, or if we are going to just get stuck in this kind of red hellish zone, which could have us dropping down at least to this median radial or to some type of a mid-range in its current channel to the side. And of course, that would not feel very great. It could end up being a fake out. We could bounce off of that just like we bounced off of it right here, get back above, and then do some type of massive fake out. But that analysis is for another day. So there you have it. There are your key levels to watch for Bitcoin on this Saturday afternoon. Thank you for watching. And of course, that was your alpha for the day. Stay safe and happy trading.